There was a time, after the world had torn itself apart and then stitched itself back together, there was a time of great bounding optimism. It was fueled by victory, and it was financed by the GI Bill. We called it the American Dream. And that dream had a shape. It had the shape of a little house in a place called suburbia. Millions of them, all in a row, rising from the fields. New roads, new shining cars in the driveways, new perfectly manicured green lawns. We had everything, except one thing. We had our homes, we had our backyards, but we had lost the town. We had lost the center. We traded the bustling sidewalks of the city for the privacy of the picket fence. And in that privacy, there was a new kind of emptiness, a suburban loneliness. You drove from your garage to your office garage, from home to work. There was no public square, no place to stroll, no place to meet. We had built a dream and realized we had forgotten to build a heart. We needed a place. And then a man came along. His name was Victor Gruen, an immigrant, an Austrian architect who had fled a war-torn Europe. He looked at this new American suburbia and he was horrified. He saw the soulless sprawl of concrete, the cult of the automobile. He remembered Vienna. He remembered the pedestrian squares, the cafes. He remembered community. Victor Gruen had an idea, a utopian idea. He wouldn't just build a building. He would build a center. He would take the European town square and he would place it in the middle of nowhere. He would enclose it, put it under a roof. He would climate control it. Always 72 degrees, always perfect. And most importantly, he would ban the car. You would have to leave your automobile at the edge in a sea of parking, and you would have to walk. His original vision, it wasn't about shopping, it was about life. It would have apartments and doctor's offices and libraries and, yes, stores. It would be the third place, not home, not work, the place where public life happens, a safe, clean community hub. He dreamed of utopia. What he accidentally created was a cathedral. Do you remember the feeling of walking in? The whoosh of the automatic glass doors. You'd step out of the brutal 90-degree heat of August or the bitter, bone-chilling cold of January, and you'd step into perfection. The air was still, cool, always 72 degrees, and the first thing that hit you wasn't the sight, it was the sound. It wasn't silence, it was a hum, a great collective white noise, the sound of 1,000 conversations, 1,000 footsteps, all muffled by carpet and acoustic tile ceilings, the rhythmic shush, shush, shush of the escalators, and always in the center, the sound of the fountain, water burbling, splashing, an organic sound in a man-made place. And then the music, the gentle, ever-present muzak, never too loud, never too fast, instrumental, orchestral versions of the Beatles. It was the soundtrack to consumption. And the smell. Oh, the smell. It wasn't one smell. It was a symphony of them. That sweet, spicy, overpowering waft of cinnamon from Cinnabon on the lower level, fighting with the smell of sugar and melting butter from Mrs. Field's cookies, mingling with the heavy cloud of perfume sprayed from the Macy's entrance, and underneath it all, a faint, clean chemical smell of chlorine from the fountain. It was the smell of abundance. They were the gods, the titans, the reasons you drove there in the first place. They were the anchors, the massive department stores that guarded each end of the structure. Sears, J.C. Penney, Montgomery Ward, Macy's. These were not just stores. These were institutions. These were the tangible symbols of American middle-class stability. They were the motherships. Do you remember walking through a Sears? It was a universe unto itself. You'd walk through one door, and the heavy, rubbery smell of tires and motor oil from the auto center. You'd walk a little further, the smell of fresh-cut lumber from the craftsman tools section. An electric hum from hundreds of Kenmore refrigerators and washing machines standing at attention like soldiers. And you'd go up the escalator, and that smell of popcorn and roasted nuts, it was there for a reason, to keep you there. You could buy a suit, a new tire, a refrigerator, and a bag of popcorn, all in one trip. You didn't just shop at Sears, you trusted Sears. They were the guarantee. They were permanence. It was an event. It was a verb, a noun, and a plan. Going to the mall. It was what you did on a Saturday. The family would pile into the wood-paneled station wagon. This was not a quick trip. This was a destination. This was the 1980s version of a family picnic, an indoor pilgrimage. The parents, they'd go to the anchors, shop for sensible things. The kids were safe. That was the golden promise of the mall. This was a controlled environment, clean, secure. No cars, no bad weather, no dangerous strangers. You could let your 8-year-old run a little ahead. You could give your 12-year-old $10, and you'd say, "Meet back at the fountain at 4 o'clock." And they would. It was freedom on an invisible leash. It was trust within a carefully designed bubble.
And this is the heart of it all. This is why this nostalgia runs so deep. For a generation, the mall was the universe. It was the first taste of social freedom. You weren't mom's kid anymore. You were a mall rat, and that was a badge of honor. Your parents would drop you off at the entrance, and for 3, 4, 5 hours, you were free. No teachers, no parents, just you and your friends. And what did you do? Everything. And nothing at all. You walked. You did laps, round and round. You saw, and you were seen. That was the whole point. Walking past the Gap just to see who was working. Lingering outside of Claire's or Spencer's, trying to work up the nerve to walk into Abercrombie with its too loud music and its too strong cologne. You sat on the benches just to watch. This was the social stage. This was social media before social media was social media. This was where you learned to be a person, where you had your first date, walking awkwardly beside someone, buying them a pretzel, where you learned to socialize, to flirt, to be, where you just existed.
Tucked in a corner, usually near the food court, was another world. A world within a world. The arcade. You heard it before you saw it. A digital cacophony. Booms, pew-pews, get over here. Mortal Kombat's finish him. A symphony of electronic chaos. You'd push through the doors or just cross the dark threshold, and the light vanished. It was dark, lit only by the neon glow of the cabinets and the smell. It smelled different. It smelled of teenage sweat, old pizza, dirty carpet, and ozone. That distinct electric smell from the CRT monitors. And the currency was the quarter, the heavy, jangling weight of 5 quarters in your pocket, the tension of pushing it into the slot, that clink, clink, clink sound as your credit appeared. You'd place your quarter on the glass of Pac-Man or Street Fighter II. That was the law. It meant I got next. It was a community, a hierarchy, a place where you proved yourself, a sanctuary of digital noise. And when you got hungry, you ascended up the escalator to the food court. It was loud. It was bright. It was a glorious mess. A sea of formica tables and molded plastic chairs. A sea of orange or beige trays. The squeak of sneakers on the always slightly sticky linoleum floor. And this was where the American melting pot actually melted. This was globalism for $10. This was the first place many Americans tried international cuisine. Chinese food from Panda Express, that sweet, sticky orange chicken. Italian food from Sparrow, that giant slice of pizza you had to fold to eat. Mexican food from Taco Bell. Or that strange, frothy, wonderful drink, Orange Julius. What was it? No one knew, but it was amazing. This was the social hub. You'd get your tray and you would scan. You'd scan the room for an empty table, for your friends, for other people looking for you. You'd sit and you'd watch. The mall wasn't just a place. It told you what to like. It was the gatekeeper of cool. You didn't discover music on an algorithm. You discovered it at Sam Goody, or Tower Records, or Music Land. You'd walk in and the music was loud. You'd flip through the racks, new releases. You would physically hold the CD. You'd pop it open the liner notes, smell the new paper and plastic. You'd carry it home like a trophy. You'd buy your first movie, not stream it. You'd go to Suncoast Video, an entire store just for movies you could own. Those Disney VHS tapes in those puffy white plastic clamshell boxes. You'd walk into Spencer's Gifts just to feel a little bad. The lava lamps, the blacklight posters, the gag mugs. It was the mall's rebellious basement. The clothes you wore, the Gap, the Limited, Abercrombie and Fitch. Your entire identity was for sale right here. And then there was Christmas. Oh, Christmas at the mall. It was magic. It was the moment the cathedral truly lived up to its name. It started the day after Thanksgiving. The transformation. The giant, enormous ornaments hanging from the skylights. The massive garlands wrapped around every escalator. The lights, the millions of twinkling lights. And the music, the endless looping soundtrack of Christmas carols. And in the center, the throne, the giant velvet chair, the artificial winter wonderland, Santa, the line of children, nervous and excited, the flash of the Polaroid camera, and the energy, the frantic, joyful, capitalistic energy, the hunt, the shopping bags everywhere, the rustle of tissue paper. This was the peak, the absolute zenith of the American mall dream. And then, a sound, a new sound, a thin, scratchy, static hiss. Ding, 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 the sound of a 56K modem. The dial-up. The internet arrived. At first, it was a toy, a curiosity, an AOL chat room, a "You've got mail." And then it got faster, broadband. And a kid in a college dorm invented Napster. Suddenly, why drive to Sam Goody when the song was free? Why buy a whole CD for one song? And a man started selling books out of his garage. Amazon. Just books. It was a convenience, not a threat. It was a catalog. The mall was an experience, right? It was a slow death. A death by 1,000 conveniences. A death by 1,000 clicks. 2-day shipping, free returns. Why drive to the mall? Why find a parking spot all the way out in the back? Why walk? Why deal with the crowds? Why wait in line? The internet was just easier. The paradox of choice wasn't a problem. It was a feature. You could price compare instantly. You could read 1,000 reviews. The mall started to feel slow, old, unnecessary. The carpets started to look worn. The neon started to flicker. And then the body blow. 2008, the Great Recession. The money stopped. America's disposable income vanished. Going to the mall just to kill time wasn't a thing people did anymore. Every dollar mattered. And the giants, the anchors we thought were immortal, they began to wobble. Sears, J.C. Penney, Montgomery Ward was long gone. Kmart. These giants were built on a 20th century model. They couldn't compete. They were too big, too unwieldy, too slow. And one by one, they began to fall. Bankruptcy, liquidation, everything must go. The anchors were cut. And a mall without its anchors is just a hallway. It began to drift. And so, a new culture, a new hobby was born. The culture of the dead mall. Urban exploration. A kind of beautiful, morbid tourism. People began to explore these modern ruins, these vast, empty cathedrals. The experience is eerie, haunting. You walk in and silence. Not the hum, not the music, a heavy, oppressive quiet. The only sound is the echo of your own footsteps on the tile floor. Click, clack, click. The fountains are dry, just empty, pale blue concrete pits layered with dust. The skylights are still there, shining down shafts of sunlight just to illuminate the dust on the empty, gated-up storefronts. You can still see the ghosts, the faded outline on the wall where the Sam Goody sign used to be, the dark, empty space where the arcade used to scream, the smell of decay. It's like walking through a tomb, a beautiful, tragic, climate-controlled tomb of the American dream. So, what did we lose? When we lost the mall, what actually died? It wasn't just Sears. It wasn't just Cinnabon. We lost a place. We lost Victor Gruen's dream. We lost the third place. Think about it. Where do we go now? A place that isn't home and isn't work. A public, indoor, safe, climate-controlled space where you don't have to buy anything. Where do teenagers go to be teenagers? Where do the elderly go to walk when it's too hot or too cold? We've replaced it with this. The digital town square, the algorithm, the feed. We traded the messy, glorious, physical public square for the convenient, personalized, efficient, private screen. And now, we all sit in our own homes, staring at our own lights, and wonder why we all feel so alone. We have nowhere to go.